G'day everyone, Diesel here from Getting Around Knowledge Camper Trailer Travelling. Thanks for checking this out today. Now look, today's video, I've got a test and a review coming up in this one, but the reality is we're in a situation with a Ranger where we don't have a secondary battery, we don't have a DC-DC charger, and obviously we don't have the inverter, so electronics wise there's nothing in the back there to power up the fridge or the GoPros or drones or air fryers or whatever sort of gear we want to use. And I'm not sure what we're going to do going forward. I've actually going to test it. I've been testing out this one here for a little while. As you may be aware, we've actually just done a 12 volt rebuild on the camper trailer here, and if you haven't checked that out, I'll chuck the link in the video for you. But we've been using quite a few power tools in here, and I've actually had about a month to sort of play around with this and sort of see what it does. We've also got a solar panel here that's a 200 watt we're going to check out, and I guess the question for me is this going to be the one we're going to take across the country with us? Not sure. Either way, hang around and we'll test this thing out and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so this one here is an ALLPOWERS unit. It's the R1500. The SPO33 is the 200 watt solar panel I got back here, which we'll test out in a bit. I haven't tested this one out, so I'm actually going to be testing this one live with you, so what we get is what we get. Now, when I was offered this one, okay, so this one was sent to me by these guys to test out and review, which is what I'm doing today. But yeah, at first I was hesitant because I have tried a couple of these in the past, and I wasn't sure whether, there's going to be much of a difference. But I guess the reality is this one here it's a mid-range one, so there is lower range ones to do sort of basic sort of stuff, and then you got your top end stuff which might power household electronics and those types of things in case you have a power out. Was this one here, I sort of feel like it sort of fits in the middle, and you look at maybe something we need to use like I was mentioning before. But this one here is 1152 watt hours of power. It does have a lithium battery in it. It actually has an 1800 watt inverter in it, so it does have AC power with these ones here. Other quick specs, it is a 15 millisecond UPS. Now what that means is, if you're charging this one, you have something plugged into it charging it, you have it running to power cuts out, this one here will keep the power going. At 15 milliseconds is probably not the quickest, but it does mean that it's not going to kill whatever you got going on. Weight wise, I'll chuck him on the screen here now. It's beefy, that's for sure. Size wise, you can lift it for one, with one hand if you want to, but it's probably definitely a two-person lift. It's not going to take up too much space wherever you are. It doesn't have tie down points or any of that sort of stuff there, so I guess for me in the back of the range I'll be probably maybe looking at some straps or something like that. Now this one here does have 2 points here to add extra batteries to it. Now I'm thinking at this point in time maybe that's a plan for something in the future, but I don't see that there's any available from these guys. Now this one here, inputs wise, has the 2 USB-A connections on the front there. They're 18 watters. We've got the 100 watt USB-C connections. We've got the SIG socket here. On the top, this one actually has 2 wireless chargers on your phone there. It does get a bit warm after being in there a while, so when I was working the camper trailer here, I actually had some music playing on my phone while I was working here and trying to charge at the same time. It didn't really like that. As soon as I turned the phone off from being used, it charged fine. I guess with these it sort of gets to a point when it's actually sort of cuts off and stops working, which I guess is a good thing. Essentially, to use these ones, it's very simple. Okay, so if you want to use that section there or the top, you just turn on the button there, or you want to use the AC sockets here, you just turn them on there. It's actually bloody 4, which is quite a lot. Connections wise, you just plug him straight in there, but here's a con I have, and I'm going to show you why a little bit later. You can see the sockets here are actually what we would consider in Australia to be upside down. Now for most power sockets or plugs it won't be a problem, but when I try to plug in the battery drill charger, which is a longer one, it didn't really work, to be honest with it. But I'll sort of give you a look at that one in the future. Little rubber covers here are all pretty handy as opposed to click-in plastic stuff. I actually prefer that, to be honest with you. And the panel there is pretty well explains itself on what's going on. Now this does have a Bluetooth app as well, which I struggled to get on. So I guess a suggestion for the ALLPOWERS team is, in the manual it sort of says just go into the app. So download the app and then just hit the search button, but that wasn't working. So what you need to do is, which was in a separate section of the book, it sort of does refer to, you know, another point there. You've actually just got to hold down this button here for 3 seconds, and that turns on the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So and also turns it off as well, but I guess you'd probably just bloody leave it on anyway. Now I just turn the recording here for this one. So essentially what you do is this is the screen you come into at the start, and you see you got the Bluetooth there or Wi-Fi. Essentially, for example, to search, hit Wi-Fi. It all comes up there now that I've got it turned on, and you just select the unit that you have. So we'll just go into what we got there. Now you can see there, you can turn on the connections as you need to. So you don't actually have to hit the buttons on the device itself, which is pretty handy. So we'll turn off the AC charger, we'll turn off the DC charger, and you can see there you got how much battery time you got left in there. The top right of the screen there, now this is where you can choose the charging mode. So I know it says work mode there, but it's actually the charging mode. So mute mode is obviously nice and slow, standard speaks for itself, and fast mode is if you want to try and charge them up pretty quickly, but you know, doing that does kill the lifespan of the battery. Eco mode speaks for itself, and then once you got eco mode on, you can turn a time to shut it down. And with this one being a lithium battery, it is rated to give you about 3,500 charges, which would be to about 80%. Now that's a fairly decent lifespan if you do the math on it. Now charge this way, there's 4 ways you can do it. You've either got AC power from the power point in your house, you can charge it via solar. This one can actually be charged via the 6 socket as well, or you can actually mix it up. So if you want to charge it fast, you're out and about, you can charge it via the car, plug in a solar panel as well, and actually double up, depending on your situation. Now what do you get in the box for this one here? AC power. It actually comes with a car charger, which is nice. Now many brands actually don't supply these, and it's about 30 odd bucks to go and buy one, so that is a relief. So that means I can just plug him into here and plug him into the 6 socket in the car, so while I'm driving actually we'll charge it up, which is good. And there's a nice long cable here to plug it in solar, so that's the cable that plugs into the device itself, and you got the M4 connections here to plug it into solar panels. I find a lot of sort of solar panel brands or portable solar panel brands use these things here rather than Anderson. In Australia anyway, Anderson plugs that go, aren't they? Sort of just makes life a lot easier. You can get these M4 to Anderson conversion plugs, 20 to 30 bucks is what they'll set you back. And yeah, I'll obviously have to get one of those myself, because this one here can take up to 600 watts of solar. Now with this one here, I've got the 200 watt solar panel, but obviously I've got more solar panels as well, so that should be nice to get a few of those going on this one. And now on the end here, nice little click panel, so that's your surge reset button if you have it. That one there is the plug that uses all these portable connections to charge it, and you've got the AC charger connection there. Now this was the panel I was telling you about here, be able to charge in extra battery packs, so we'll see what they do with that one in the future. And you'll see on the top there's plenty of room for your phones. So I know a lot of phones are getting much bigger these days. Got the little fan here that we use. This is a 12 volt one. I just turned on the air fryer. Now the air fryer is a 1500 watt air fryer, which is, using about 1400 watts there. We'll turn on the fan here. So there's the microphone charger there. Got the GoPro batteries. Now the cordless drill, once I flatten that a few times, plug him on there. Now, what do you reckon's going to happen here? Running 1400 watts there fairly comfortably. And here's my problem. Turn that back on. So just knock the fan out there, so you can see it sort of, it'll go in there, but it's clearly not ideal. With that rubber little cover there, it's sort of pushing it out a bit and charging them up there fine. So that's about 1420, 1430 watts there at the moment. This one here was around 400, wasn't it? So with 1800 watt capacity. Let's see how we go. Now that I'm bloody deaf, so that was running 1800 watts there for about a minute or so without any dramas, and the answer is, you know, it definitely honours the 1800 watts worth of power. If I'm going camping, this is it. Other than using a fridge, remember a fridge will generally use about 50 to 60 watts on peak use. You know, even like we got a 60 litre fridge, that's about the most that it'll use, depending on what type of fridge you have or want to use. Or, you know, the seals and those types of things will probably determine, you know, if it's going to be more. Probably not going to be much more, but for me and everything I've done around the camper trailer here over the last couple of weeks, using the fan to cool myself down because it's pretty bloody warm in WA if you weren't aware, charging the tools, air fryer, snacks for lunch because I'm tired and sweaty and don't want to bug around. And all in all, it does a pretty good bloody job, to be honest with you. But now we're tested out the sort of running capabilities and what this thing can handle. Let's get the solar out now and we'll see how that performs. Alrighty, so this is my first time looking at this panel here. It's pretty tidy, to be honest with you. Let's see what we got in here. Heaps of bloody cable is what we've got in here. So there's the main cable there. There's a few adapters there if you're going to need those. It doesn't have a regulator, so there's an instruction book there, but it doesn't have a regulator. So if you were looking to buy this panel to use some sort of setup of yours, you'd probably need a DC-DC charger with a regulator built into it. There's a cable to be able to, which is an M4 cable with the other connection to plug into back of there, so I'll use that one in a sec. And we've got the alligator clamps there to plug him onto your battery. So as you can see, depending on, I guess, if you have another battery or something like that you want to use, there's actually quite a few different connections there. Lengthwise, there's probably a meter coming off the panel itself, and it's probably another meter coming off there. So the cables they give you is actually 2 of these, so you're probably looking at about maybe 2.5 to sort of 3 meters there. So lie him down, roll him out. Then on the back here we've got these legs, which I'll add are very bloody sticky. There's actually 3 little hooks here. So there's one there, one there, one there, which is also another good idea if you're somewhere where you don't have the ability to do this. Now legs are a good idea because if you're going to lie this panel flat on the ground, you've got the heat potentially from the ground and not giving the back ventilation. If it's not getting ventilation, the panel's going to heat up, and the panel's going to heat up, it's not going to perform like it should. So, been plugged in for a few minutes now and sitting about 100 watts with the input there, which is pretty good. Hopefully it's on the screen there. In my opinion, for a 200 watt panel, I think 140 watts is a fairly decent return, but let me know what you think, because I've actually sort of tested out a few panels now, and you know, they all sort of have different variations and different designs, and you know, they're all sort of set up in different ways, but I'm actually very happy I got these panels, to be completely honest with you. And this system here has been very good for me. Doing the 12 volt build of this camper trailer, I've used this every day, and yeah, so far it hasn't let me down, and you know, I definitely recommend it. So to get these ones, they're available in a few different places. You get them on their website, of course, and check them out. The prices vary. Sometimes they're on special, sometimes they're not, but I'll chuck the links in the description of what these ones are. ALLPOWERS are actually an American company, so that's where they base themselves out of, and that's where they mainly supply, but they are starting to supply into the Australian market as well. And I've actually sort of provided feedback on the sockets and how in Australia we need them to be other way down because of, you know, how the drill charger socket actually fit on there. So I'm hoping that if you order one of these, and you'll get that, you know, sort of set up for yourself. But all I know, I can't fault it, to be honest with you. It's done everything it's designed to do, and you know, it's functioned pretty well. And again, the solar panels, you know, in my opinion, it's a fairly bloody decent return. But let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any thoughts, and over a longer period of time I am gonna keep using these to see how they perform. And hope you enjoyed that one. I'm Diesel for Getting Around Oz. We'll catch the next one. Hooroo.